is over.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Insiders. And really appreciate you guys joining us tonight for this kind of a different stream. It's basically the Ask the Insiders episode for myself and Jeff, which we did not get to do. So we're combining that with basically kind of a celebration episode for, as you can see up on the screen there, the 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And yes, so that is what our plan is for tonight. No real structure or anything like that to the show. Basically, we're just going to talk to you guys, and you guys can shoot out questions that you would like to for Jeff and myself, and we will do our best to answer them as we get them. Pretty much, like I said, just kind of keep it clean. We don't want any kind of crazy stuff. We'll try to do that as best we can to answer whatever you guys ask of us. So essentially, that's really it. That's all we've got for you tonight. It's not anything structured, nothing like that. Jesse L says, ring the bell, 1K subs, yes. And this is pretty much just to thank you guys for being there for us, for subscribing to the channel, and for coming to the streams and watching them with us. So let's see who is in the chat. We have Kevin Correa in. He says, yo, what's up, Kevin? We have Joshua Mickelson here as well. What's up, man? We have Jesse L. What's going on? We have Chris is in the chat also. So welcome to everybody who is here so far. We might have some late people coming in a little bit later on. But yeah, so you guys can start since you are the first ones here, and let us know what questions you have. Sean Rousset is here as well. Hello again to you. Yeah, let's get right into it. Rusty Shackelford. Rusty, you don't need to do that, man. You are the man, but listen, man, you don't need to do that. Thank you so much, Rusty.
We love you, Rusty.
Yeah, nobody tells Rusty what to do.
That's true.
Yeah. Rusty has done so much for us as a group, and man, it's just it's been a crazy, wild ride, and Rusty has been along for the entire thing. And thanks to Rusty as well for that generous donation. Appreciate that very much, bud. And again, thank you so much, Rusty, for everything you've done for our show all along the line. So, all right, I think we've got some questions coming in. We've got Team Rocket has joined us. He says, I'm here. So let's get started, shall we? And it looks like the first one is for Jeff. Jeff, it's a wrestling question. So how and when did you get into wrestling, and what has kept you interested?
So for me, in terms of watching wrestling, honestly, I got into it, I think, at about the age of 3 or 4. Some of my earliest memories are from that age in wrestling. And honestly, the person that got me into it was my mom. She was a big time wrestling fan. She traveled a lot when I was growing up for her job, and she would always run into wrestlers because she'd fly all across the Southeast. So she got a chance to meet Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, Magnum TA, a bunch of other people, and she was the one that took me to my first show, which was at the Greensboro Coliseum. And I don't know, what keeps me into it is that, you know, I kind of feel like I always have a connection to her through watching wrestling. You know, she passed away back in 2005, and you know, that's just something that I always kind of stick on to. Whenever I'm really missing her a lot or anything like that, I'll go back and watch some of the old school stuff. But yeah, that's it.
Well, there you go. All right. So Jeff started at an early age, 4 years or 4 years old, dude. That's crazy. I thought I was early, but I wasn't watching, I don't think, until I was about 7 or 8 watching studio wrestling. So there you go. Jeff got into it early. So Jesse L, thank you for that question. Sean Rousset wants to know, and this is for both of us, are you fans of the Scream series? I was just watching Scream 1 and 2 actually earlier this afternoon. I liked it. I liked the first one a lot. Was very different, kind of a movie that poked fun a little bit at slasher films. Wes Craven, of course, the great Wes Craven directed it. And Scream 2 was good as well. They got a little bit weird as they went along in the sequels and stuff like that, like all movies do. But yeah, I thought it was different. I thought it had some good stuff on it. I thought that there was some decent things they did a little bit differently, kind of like looking at a horror movie from the inside as it was really happening. So I kind of thought it was cool. Jeff, what about you? Do you like Scream?
I love the Scream movie series. Honestly, they can't make enough of them for me. TV show, not so much.
I haven't seen the TV show yet. But yeah, I'm glad you told me that because now I won't bother.
Yeah,
one less thing I have to watch.
Bother yourself with that. Yeah.
DJB Tazzy, thank you so much for the donation, buddy. You don't have to do that. DJB Tazzy, man. Guys, if you have not listened to DJB Tazzy, please go over to his channel. Congrats to you, dude, too, on the 3. I think you just got 300 subs.
Nice.
So amazing, man. Amazing job to you. And DJB Tazzy does a great job and a great friend of our channel. He's always supporting us, always talking about our shows and everything like that. So go over and check out DJB Tazzy. The baseball season is over, so Tazzy can do streams. So there you go. Sorry your team lost, dude. I feel bad, but hey, mine may be going down as well. But good to have you back, Tazzy, and thank you so much. You didn't need to do that, but thank you very much. We really, really, really appreciate it. Chris, I'm not reading your comment. Just not. So we're starting off already, and I'm not reading it. Brandy and Jody are in as well, and they have some questions for us that we'll get to in a little bit, I guess. So let me see what else we've got in the chat. Rusty, is this for Jeff? You said Neff. I'm guessing you meant Jeff. This is cryptic. He's saying, I need to know what happened. You know what I'm asking about, and smiley faces. Jeff, what is he talking about? What is he talking about?
I'm gonna ask a question because I think I know what he's talking about, but I want to make sure. Rusty, are you talking about a particular former WCW wrestler that might have had the last name Bagwell? Because I'm not gonna mention his name other than that. Oh, about that dude. What about him? He's saying it's about Alvarez. Why do I not like him? Is what I'm guessing is what you're asking. If that's the question, then it's real simple. I think the world is divided enough as it is, and we don't need idiots dividing it anymore, especially when it comes to something like wrestling. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but when you use that opinion to divide fans and you use your platform, a paid platform at that, to drive a wedge in wrestling fans, that's the problem that I have. The other thing is, if you don't watch a particular product, you shouldn't have anything to say about it. And he has a lot to say about a lot of things that he doesn't watch. And I just don't respect people like that. If you're a journalist, be a journalist and call it down the middle. If you have a crush on a certain company, then, profess your love, your undying love for that company. But don't crap on one company because you're, I'm trying to be nice and not say something too raunchy. But if you are so infatuated with one company, that's cool. I respect that. But don't crap on other stuff you don't like just because they don't give you scoops and behind the scenes stuff because you suck. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, there you go. You got the answer to the cryptic question from Rusty. I had no idea where he was going with that. Sunny Wolf is in the chat. Hello, Sunny. How are you this evening? Hope you're doing well. Days Fan is back. Look at that. Wrestling Days Fan is back, and he's saying, can I ask any question without getting timed out? Dude, I knew you were going to do that. I knew the minute I saw you say, am I going to get timed out? I knew it was going to be a question about Goldberg. I had no doubt that it was going to be about Goldberg. Chris, what was wrong? That I won't read your comment? Yeah, I'm not reading that, dude. We're not even getting started. I'm not even reading that. We're not getting. Are we really going to have to answer this? Are you serious, Days Fan? You're just poking the bear. Poking the bear. You're just poking the bear. What do you all think of Goldberg and his lousy jackhammer? Could I change
You're poking the witch too.
Yeah. Like what are you doing here, dude? And is the worst jackhammer ever? That should be worded that he did on the Fiend to squash him because Vince McMahon decided that was what he wanted to do. That should have been how that question was worded. I think you pretty much know all our answers to that one, buddy. You didn't even have to ask. So
I'm going to give you a ginger snap.
Dude, you're just firing everybody up already. Days Fan, dude, you're gone forever. You come back right away, and you just fire everybody up, dude. You're like a matchstick in a pool of gasoline.
Yikes.
Yikes is right. Austin,
Joe, do you see the picture on the screen, Joe?
I am looking at the picture on the screen. That's amazing. I'm still trying to get a wedding stopped. I'm still trying my best to get a wedding stopped. It can't happen. It just cannot happen. But I mean, I don't know. I'm getting talked into things by other people saying that it might be for the good and they might sacrifice Johnny Bravo and he might be gone forever. So if that's the plan, then I'm good with it. But that's amazing. That is an absolute amazing picture. I'm getting all kinds of cool stuff. Like you guys have done Nails and her husband made me a Vince McMahon thing with my face on Vince's face, the devil Vince. And then Jason Elliott made me a GIF with Vince's the Vince devil GIF, but then he like merged my face into the GIF. I'm like, oh, dude, that's amazing. Like it was awesome. So yeah, that's awesome. You guys are fantastic. And yes, Jeff, that's an amazing picture. Absolutely amazing. Love Rosemary. So congrats on reaching 1K. So happy for you, says Austin. Thanks, man. Really, 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 really appreciate that. Eric was going to start a hiatus and he's starting it after this stream. All right, dude. Well, I'm glad you are starting after our stream is over. Tazzy says, I'm here. I'm driving to get my brother from the airport. Oh, dude. Yeah, I would imagine.
Don't text and drive.
Yeah, I would imagine in California it is not fun driving through traffic. All right. So any questions, guys, that you have, except for pertaining to Goldberg and squash matches, let us know what you'd like to ask us. Again, it doesn't have to be about wrestling. It could be about whatever you want it to be. And I told you, I promised you I'd tell you his Jason story, so I'll get to that in a little bit too. This comes from my crazy days as a high school kid, and one of the reasons why everybody associates the psychopathic killer from Friday the 13th with me pretty much all of my entire life. So I'll get to that in a little bit. What's up, Insiders family, says Mustafa. How are you, man? Nice to see you here tonight as well. Team Rocket. Yeah, it's okay, dude. You could just hang, man. You don't have to have any questions. It's all cool. It's all good. So yeah, but listen, it's been an incredible ride. And really that's what a lot of us are here for tonight too. We started this in March. And we started a lot of things started in this crazy year back in March and April when everybody was kind of stuck in their houses. And that's when we started this whole thing. I knew Jeff from Days of Streams, and we kind of got together and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's do a wrestling podcast." And that's just kind of how it started. And of course, we interviewed Jody. Jody came on to talk to us, and then we decided to have her do a show. And then, of course, we interviewed Brandy, and then Brandy came on and did a show for us as well. So that's kind of how it all started. And the fact that we got to where we are now in such a crazy amount of time is unbelievable. And it never really fails to amaze me. And again, it's pretty much all because of you guys. So that is why we are here. Joshua wants to know, what is the next Fiend feud? Well, I'm guessing we're going to find out at Hell in a Cell. Nobody really knows. Andrade, I really don't think it's going to be Andrade. I think that was more for Alexa's, the whole Alexa thing that was going on, that the reason that they did that. Of course, Kevin Owens got moved to SmackDown, so it's not going to be Kevin Owens. It's not going to be Aleister Black. So we'll see. I'm guessing, again, it's probably going to be revealed at Hell in a Cell. I, of course, and I know Jody talked about it, Jeff talked about it on Abby's on Monday, would love to see him come out and attack Mr. Orton, depending on what he does on Hell in a Cell, whether he wins that title or whether he doesn't, and maybe he costs him the title win by attacking him. So hoping that will be what it is. Butterspark saying the same thing. Not asked, but tell the Fiend will take Randy's future belt. It would obviously be amazing. That's the feud that everybody wants.
Oh yeah.
So we will see if that's what it takes. Johnny Bates is saying, Joey. No one calls me Joey ever. Oddly enough, my father, and don't ask me why, called me Josie all of the time, growing up, all through, and even today still does. No idea where he got it from, no idea where it came from, like Josie and the Pussycats, but that was my father's name for me growing up, was Josie all of the time. When he was mad and angry, it was just a lot louder, but yeah. No idea why that he got it or where he got that from, but yeah. Let's see. Madam Wolf says, Johnny Bates, the Sunny Wolf, been missing out on the day's streams for the past week. Hope you all are doing well. Yeah, there's a big billboard up there that says thank you to everybody as well. So yes, absolutely. Rusty said you guys have been doing an amazing job since day one. Thanks, dude. Yeah, Rusty was another one. We had all met, a lot of us all met in the day's chats. Obviously Brandy was there as well. Brandy was there longer than a lot of us were. Brandy's been watching days for a lot longer time than we all were. Yeah, Brandy was hanging out in the chat there for a while, and then of course, I got in it right around the time that the Funhouse started. I think that's when a lot of us got in it. Jeff got in it around that time. Probably Jody did as well. A lot of the others, Jesse, and Rusty. I'm pretty sure. I think you were around that time. So, yeah, it's so cool. I mean, we all kind of got to know each other through there. And it just kind of went on to what it's gone on to, and it's just been really cool. Butterspark says either Fiend versus Randy or Alexa and Fiend versus Andrade and Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte's ready to come back. She had some pretty rough surgery. Yeah, I don't know that she's ready to come back. And I think Andrade, as much as I think he's a good athlete, I think he's going to end up getting kind of pushed to mid-card. And I don't see them pushing Bray to mid-card. I just don't. They wouldn't have moved him to do that to him. So I really don't think that's going to happen. Dave's fan says Randy isn't winning. Yeah, he may not. And maybe the Fiend stops him from winning.
I think it's the other way around.
That would set him off because obviously he wants that title. So yeah. Rocket says, hey, Joe, can I call you Jokin just for October? Jokin? Dude, you can call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's a classic right there. That's a classic. Baron Corbin's better than Goldberg. Man, you guys, poor Baron Corbin. Poor Baron Corbin.
I love Baron Corbin.
KJ Carter says, hello, the Insiders Wrestling Podcast. How are you? KJ? It's nice to see you. Sonny's eating waffles. Waffles.
Yum.
Good choice.
Waffles are good. Sean Flagstaff says, "Oh shoot, sorry I'm late. I'm making pork chops."
Yum.
Making pork
Here
chops.
we go talking about
Pork
food
chops.
again.
I know. Well, we always do. It wouldn't be a stream of ours unless we talk food.
Joe, speaking of food, I was going to tell you earlier when you were talking about Scream, I didn't know what Jiffy Pop was until the first Scream movie.
Oh my God, we grew up with that stuff. Like I can remember my mom on our old stove with the thing. You have to sit there shaking it back and forth.
They still make Jiffy Pop.
They do.
Yeah, they still have it.
Do. They do. Yeah, we ate that all the time. I mean, hey, we look. I grew up with no microwaves. So we didn't have microwave popcorn when I was younger. So you had Jiffy Pop, and that's what you did. And it was actually pretty good. The only thing with it was very hard not to burn it. Because of the way it was in there, a lot of it would get burned to the bottom of the pan. But if you haven't made or eaten Jiffy Pop, you have not lived.
It's an experience.
Let's see here. Sean, yum, barbecue sauce, thyme, dillweed, pepper, salt, and onion. Wow, look at Sonny making a recipe.
All right.
WWE Freak Official says, congrats on 1K Insiders. Thanks, dude. Really, really appreciate that. Rusty saying, not a question. Just wanted to say that the most important thing that has come from your podcast is positivity and also the friendships that have been formed because of it. Yeah, man. Appreciate that, Rusty. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Is it, as Jeff was talking about earlier, in the person who shall not be named, because we don't like him, and Jeff, but it is, look, I think one of the things we found out, and we kind of went this route a little bit ourselves for a time, it's very easy to take a lot of the wrestling stuff and make it negative. It's very, very simple to do that. That attracts people, and it attracts it. It gets you watches and views. Is it the right way to do? Look, anybody can do whatever it is they feel like doing, and that is their prerogative to do what they want to do. Me personally, I when I see something that everyone does, and essentially that is what everyone does. Is it easy to sit here and make fun of everything? Absolutely. Is it easier to put down everything? Absolutely. Is it harder to find positives in things that everybody seems to be finding negative in? Yes. And I would rather do that than to sit here and preach about negativity of wrestling. When it's entertainment, it's supposed to be fun. Everybody that comes in is supposed to have fun talking about it, enjoy what they want to enjoy. Because there's a ton of it out there now, and just that's your prerogative. You're watching this for entertainment, not to have somebody come in and put it down all the time and say it sucks. And that we didn't want to do that. We did not want to do that from day one. So Rusty, I appreciate that comment more than you know. And I've had other people DMing me today with the similar thing, saying that I think James Chadwick mentioned it too earlier to me on Twitter, saying that he feels that this is a place where he can come, express himself in the chat, and just have fun. That's all we intended to do. That's what this is supposed to be. And I can't get a bigger and better remark from anyone than the fact that they're enjoying it because of that, because that's what we're here for. I don't want to be the guy that's going to cut down everything. I don't want to be, and like I said, it's very easy to do that, but I don't want to do that. So thanks, Rusty. Really appreciate the comment. Team Rocket says the joke didn't affect me because I'm eating dinner right now. Okay, this one's for Jeff from Chris. Oh boy,
Hey, don't do it. I've already answered it.
No,
in the chat,
okay.
So.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, all righty. Jeez, Chris, stop. All right, Butterspark. Where would Drew stand in a Randy and Fiend feud if the Fiend interferes in the two's Hell in a Cell match? I think it would mean who costs him the match. Like if Fiend interferes and costs Drew a win, well, then he's going to be on the same show with both of them. So in essence, then maybe he feuds with Drew. If he costs Randy the win, then Drew would probably go off. I think we've talked about this on Abby's too. I think Drew may end up going off to a thing with Tyson Fury.
Which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I mean, they've teased that already, so I kind of think that that's going to be going off. That could be something that could be down the line for Drew if he does lose the title. If he doesn't, then they could very easily reverse it, have Bray go out. I mean, Bray wrestled him a few times in the past. Around this time last year, he was doing dark matches with Drew when Drew was a heel then. But no, I'm sorry. No, he wasn't. No, that's right. He was not. But yeah, so I mean, they could go either way with it. So I think either one, I'm okay with either one. Eric says, question for me, Joseph. Ooh, he's using my full name. Nobody usually does that either. What are your thoughts on? Oh, geez, what is with the Goldberg questions, dude? Stop. Oh man, dude. Let me tell you something about Goldberg. Goldberg was great in WCW days. The match with Hulk Hogan was the pinnacle of Goldberg's career. What he's doing now, dude, I listen. I think at this point, does he deserve respect? Yes. Has he been a legend? Yes. Why guys love him so much now? I have no absolute idea because the dude just doesn't have it anymore, and it's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit it. He's getting older. He was out of wrestling forever. And to come back, get himself into shape. I mean, we saw the videos of the behind the scenes stuff where when he first came back and I was getting himself into shape and he was, all that kind of stuff. And then he got injured and things like that. But look, the dude just doesn't have it anymore. And it's okay to admit that. It's all right to admit that. Vince loves the dude. I get that, but I'm you know what? Listen, if Goldberg walked off into the sunset right now, I am perfectly fine with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. I think he's done his job. He's had some great matches in his career. He's done some good things, but I think it might be just time to say goodbye. He
was a great football player.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, he was a great athlete. The dude was killing it when he was in WCW. I mean, he was undefeated. He had an undefeated streak going on for the longest time. I mean, and that's the reason why he got into a program with Goldberg. So, I mean, or Goldberg with Hogan. So, look, he was what he was. He was great when he was doing that kind of stuff. But look, it's kind of past the point now. And if you start to see some of these older athletes doing moves that they can't execute anymore, then it's time to call it quits. It's time to call it quits. Ask Joe, will we ever see Rosemary versus Kimberly? I hope so, dude. I would love to see that. Look, Kimber's been awesome. That match the other night on Impact was fantastic. That she had with Kylie Ray. And she's been amazing. And would I love to see, I mean, there's all kind of possibilities for Rosemary, whatever's going to happen after this. After whatever's going to happen with the wedding, who knows? But we could see a whole bunch of stuff with some demonic stuff going on and this and that with Rosemary. So yeah, I would be into whatever they do. But yeah, that would be an amazing match. All right, so I think we're about caught up with the chat. Sean saying this community rocks. It does, Sean, and that's because everybody out there is in it. You guys are making up the community, and you guys do rock. I agree with you. All right, so Jody and Brandy, do you guys? You guys have a question for Jeff or myself? I have one
for both of you.
Okay, sure, shoot.
Okay, Joe, first of all, I want to know if you were listening to the hot tag earlier and if you listened to my special Hell in a Cell book for you.
I did not get on because I don't know if you guys have heard. I'm working wounded this evening. I had a senior moment.
You pulled a Brandy.
Yeah, I had a senior.
Close your ears, Chris. Close your ears.
Yeah, I had a senior moment. It wasn't a fun thing. I was getting ready for work. I was about to come downstairs. There was a little tiny rug that we have near the door at the top by the top of the stairs. That's by the bedroom, and the rug was kind of propped up on the door. I wasn't really looking. I was groggy. Didn't get a very good sleep last night, and I tripped over the rug. and pretty much started to fall down the stairs. Well, I don't you know how you just kind of do things like that? You don't remember how you did it? Well, I don't remember how all I know is I was falling downstairs. I reached up with my right hand, kind of twisted my body, grabbed the rail, and then I just pulled myself up enough to where I got back to the landing. So thank goodness it wasn't the stairs, because God only knows what would have happened. I may not be here right now or been in a hospital somewhere. So thankfully that was the case. Somebody was watching over me for sure. But I did bang like the whole left side of my body into the wall. So I'm sitting here with ice on my back right now. It was not a fun thing, but no, long story short, I did not get to listen because I was actually sleeping. I went and took a nap, because I didn't sleep well last night. And no, I did not get to listen. So I hope it went well. I know you guys were talking about Hell in a Cell. And what was your second question, Brandy? I'm sorry.
Okay, well, let me tell you, we were dream booking Hell in a Cell matches, and I said for you, Michael Myers and Jason in Hell in a Cell.
And a lot of these horror icons now get films like fan films. And there was a Michael Myers versus Jason fan film where they took like different, they took clips and stuff, I think, from other films, and they put them together. And then somebody else actually made one where he had two people dressing up as both of them. The Wars of the Slashers. Yeah, I would absolutely dig that. Absolutely dig that.
And for Jeff, I wanted to know, Jeff, if you have ever been in a cage match.
Yes. I have.
Elaborate.
Yeah, all you're gonna say is yes. What?
I was getting to it. It was trying to think. I think I've been wrestling for about 3 years before that match, and I honestly, like, I'm afraid of heights. I'm not a big heights person.
Oh yeah, me neither.
So you don't like roller coasters?
No. I mean, I either have to be paid or I have to be under the influence of something to do that. And thank you, Jesse, for that. We really appreciate it. So we were working things out, because at that point I was going for a championship, my first one. And we got to the point where we had to have a cage match, and we were in the back booking the match and working through all the spots, and I was told that you're gonna have to do a suplex off the top of the cage.
Oh wow.
And like back in the day, you could kind of veto a spot, but but the guy that I was wrestling just so happened to train me, and he says, if you think you can veto anything that I pitch, you must be fooling yourself. So so anyway, so we get up there to get that spot near the end of the match, and he says to me, like, while we're tied up and hitting each other, don't look down. Don't look down.
No.
Don't look down. You're gonna fall. Don't look down. And I just remember, like, I shoot punched him in the stomach at that point. And then after the match, and I did win the match, by the way. But after the match, we get to the back, and he's like, next time, if you're gonna punch me in the face so it looks like you're really mad up there. And I was like, got you. Next time I will knock your teeth down your throat. So that's my cage match story.
Well, there you go. So Jeff was in a cage match. That's awesome. Yeah, Jeff's had quite the wrestling career. He's got a lot of cool stories to tell, and someday he may just have a couple of his old friends come on and talk to him about some of those wrestling stories. Yeah. So that's something we may have down the road. So very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, getting back to the slasher stuff, yeah, Brandy, that's I love that stuff. I had watched earlier this afternoon. I watched a fan film, which was very, very well done. If you guys are fans of Friday the 13th or slasher movies, there was a movie made called Never Hike Alone, which came out about a year or so ago, and now they made another one. Kind of like a sequel to that. These guys do an amazing job, and they make they're basically Friday the 13th movies. They have some of the actors that were in the films come and do it. The guy who plays Jason in it is the guy who played, now he wasn't in the entire movie, but he was in Freddy versus Jason, and he played the dream Jason. So where they had the dream sequence where he was, seeing his mom when Freddy kind of got him in that part of the world, and he played him in there. So he's an actual actor who played Jason, but they're fantastic. And it sucks because I can't see a Friday the 13th movie because they're tied up in lawsuit hell. So God only knows when I'll get to see another one. But I'll tell you what, these guys do a great job with it. Absolute great job with it. So, what everybody asking C about cake? What the hell?
We had a cake mishap earlier. He talked about it in our hot tag stream.
His cake
mishap. And he's denying it. Cake mishap. That's all right. See, I almost killed myself down steps today, so it can't be any worse than that.
Jeff, if you wanted to start wrestling now, you could have asked me to train you first before you tried to take a untrained bump.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because my friend Shane said the exact same thing. Shane, who we've had on our show, he's like, Joe, you need to learn how to take bumps. And he's like, I'm going to have to teach you how to take a bump. I'm like, yeah, obviously. I need to learn how to take something, either that or learn how to walk downstairs.
No, the key, Joe, is to fall like a drunk person.
Okay. So just kind of make yourself completely limp and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Like blind people, when they fall, we might as well be drunk.
C made a cake that never baked. Dude, I am terrible at. I can cook. I can follow recipes pretty well. Desserts, forget it. I made a cake for my mom when I was a kid, and I was probably late teens, maybe like 17 or so. I made her a cake, and I tried to do a double, like a dual layer cake. So I got the pans out because I'm used to seeing her make them this way. So and of course I wasn't going to make it homemade. Now she made everything homemade. So she made homemade cake batter and all that kind of stuff. I bought a mix and just, so I'm making put both pans in the oven. It's looking good. I'm okay. I get it. I take it out. They're not burning or anything like that, right? So I'm like, okay, I got that accomplished. I put them on the plate. I get them stacked evenly. The cakes were, I get the one on top of the other, not waiting for them to cool, right? So the one that goes on the top, all of a sudden, like earthquake, I see a big crack right in the middle of the cake. I'm like, oh no. So then I get a thing. I'm like, all right, I got to make icing. So I'm like, I'm making icing, right? And I'm reading my mom's recipe. Now, again, homemade icing. Well, doesn't 17-year-old me have no idea what confectioner's sugar means? So I'm thinking it's sugar. So I go and
powdered sugar.
Yeah, I had no idea. I know it, and I've eaten powdered sugar all my life, and that's what we were told it was powdered sugar. Well, I'm reading confectioner's sugar. I'm like, what the hell's confectioner's sugar? So I go and I reach for sugar. And I dump that inside. I'm like, okay, 1 cup of regular sugar. I throw it in there. I'm mixing it up. I'm like, this is like really sandy. Like, why is it this consistency? And I'm like, Mom never makes it like, am I supposed to melt this? Like, what's going on? So I spread it all over the cake and I fix it and it goes into the big crack and it gets all over and that's what it looked like. My mom came home. I give her the cake. My mom's like,
thanks.
What happened to the icing? I'm like, I didn't know what confectioner's sugar was, so I just used sugar. She said, you used granulated sugar in the icing mix? I'm like, yeah, I did. And she's like, well, I really appreciate you making the effort making this cake for me, but yeah, I'm probably not going to eat it. So yeah, ever since that moment, I do not bake ever again. I just do not
baking.
Yeah,
At least it wasn't the stuff that you have to eat when kids have the easy bake oven.
That's true.
Oh, that thing. I think I had one of those when I was a kid. Those things are awful. They were awful. It was cake batter that you made with water. Like, why would you think that would ever come out well? Like, it was, yeah, they were terrible. They were terrible. Plus, the things never baked. They always broke. And they bake. I mean, you're baking with a light bulb, for God's sake. It's like, what do you think it's going to bake? It takes like 3 hours to make one of these little cakes. Oh man, yeah. So see, don't feel bad. I would never even bother. My thing now is if I'm gonna make something like that, microwave brownies, microwave cake. Yep, no,
They
no
make
cake.
the single serving ones now,
Yep.
like the mug cakes or whatever.
Yeah, you put them in the coffee mugs. Yeah,
Yep.
I've had those. Yeah, I've had those.
They're not bad.
No, yeah, baking would never ever happen again for Joe. All right, I'm going to tell you guys the story about them because we're coming up on Friday the 13th. There is one next month, of course, Talkin' Shopomania, and I'm going to just get it out there. Do not forget to join us for Talkin' Shopomania because that is going to be absolutely amazing. The first one, all we did was sit and laugh for 2 straight hours, and I have no doubt it's going to be the same thing this time, and even better because there's a character that's going to be in that, and I think it's the big LG himself who's going to be wearing a hockey mask, and he's going to be fighting Ethan Page, he's got this character called the Karate Man, which is basically a takeoff of like Kung Pao Legend of the and all these crazy karate movies that you've seen when you were kids. And I think they're fighting each other. So that for me is going to be absolutely priceless. So I can't wait for that. All right. So all right, let me go back to the Stone Age. I was 16, I want to say. I might have been younger. I might have been 15. Yeah, I was 15. And my friends and I, so myself, a friend of mine named Matt, a friend of ours named Anthony, I think my cousin Jim may have been involved. My cousin lived right next door to us. So he lived in a double home. So he may have been involved with it as well. And we had these 2 girls. We lived in a small town. We knew everyone. It was very cool to live in small towns back then because you just knew everybody. You knew your neighbors. You were friends with everyone. And my friend Matt had a crush on one of the girls. Her name was Tracy. I think the other girl's name was Michelle. So one day, they knew I was a huge fan of Friday the 13th, and they knew that I dressed up as Jason. We didn't have the prop hockey mask back then. We had goalie masks. So I had gotten a goalie mask that fits over your entire head. And I painted it and I put the little red mark on the front. And that was my Jason costume when I was a kid. So they had said, let's invite the girls over to. Now, my mom worked every night of the week. My mom was, my parents are divorced. My mom had to work. So my mom was a waitress in a restaurant. She worked every single night. So it was me and my sister. And my sister's 5 years younger than me. So a lot of times I had to watch my sister. My mom was never home to kind of put her to bed at night and stuff like that. So I helped to do that. And so one weekend, my mom worked very late on weekends. She sometimes didn't get home till 1 o'clock in the morning. So my friends and I concocted this plan. All right, let's have these girls over the house and let's watch Friday the 13th movie and let's scare the living hell out of them. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, I mean, I don't know what you're aiming at here because it's kind of counterproductive as to what teenagers kind of want to do when they have girls over watching scary movies, but all right, I'm game. It's like, okay. So we concoct this plan where now my friends are all in on this. And so I go out. Now, at this point in time, I had a machete. I actually went and bought a real machete from a sporting goods store. I had gotten fake blood because I don't even know. It might have been around Halloween or in and around that time. So now my room was on the second floor of my house. So the whole plan was, start watching the movies. And we did, just sitting around, everybody was watching stuff like that. And then around my sister used to go upstairs to bed around 9-ish, like 8:39. So at that point I was going to say, okay, I'm put my sister to bed. I'll be down when I'm done. So now how do you get around this to where you're going to sneak out of the house? Well, we have a ladder. So I put up a ladder to my bedroom window on the second floor of the house. And I put the ladder all the way down to the ground in the backyard. So I put my sister to bed. Now I let her in on this, right? So I told her what was going to happen. So because I didn't want to terrify her, I told her what was going to happen. She still tells me to this day she's traumatized, but I did tell her it was going to happen. So I put her to bed. I go into my room. I put the costume on, right? I get the mask on. I put whatever else I had. I had ripped up jeans, like a torn up shirt, stuff like that. So I put all that on. I get my machete and I start climbing down the ladder. Now, this had gotten around our small town so much that we had a line of people watching down the street. There was literally people waiting for me like a celebrity coming out of a stage or something to walk to the front of my house from the backyard as I climbed down the window. There were literally people, there must have been 14, 15 people lined up the sidewalk, right? So I come around and I see all these people and they're looking at me and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, I didn't really know that I told all these people, but they're all watching and they're and I'm like, you gotta be quiet. Like you can't, you know. And so I walk around from my backyard and I go around to my front porch. Now, my front porch was an enclosed porch, meaning that there was a door. Of course, the inside door opened to the outside screen door. And then you had the front porch, which was enclosed by windows. And then you had steps leading to the outside and another door. So I go to the front. I open the front porch door and I go into the porch and I walk over to where where my front door is. So I go in and I just I get a bang on the door, right? So I'm just kind of a fist. I do bang on the front door. So my friend Matt gets up and goes, "Oh no, Joe's mom must be home." Like what, I don't know what's going on. Like his mom must be, So he comes over and he opens the screen door. And now, I mean, this could not have gone more perfectly. Like we were not actors by any stretch of the imagination. We did not rehearse this in any shape or form. But Matt comes to the door, opens the door, and I come flying into the door. Machete in my hand. I have the blood thing underneath the machete. So I grab the machete and swing at my friend Matt. Well, he rocks backward and there's blood all over his neck. So he falls to the floor. Like he's dead, right down to the floor. I have another guy that was over. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Anthony. I don't remember who it was. He comes over at me, flies at me like he's going to attack me. I grab him and I just throw him over to the corner of the room. So he goes flying over the couch and he's laying in back of the couch. Jim comes up. I kind of did the same thing to him. I grab him now he was a smaller guy. He was younger than all of us. So I grabbed him. I might have grabbed him by the throat and I just took him and just kind of shucked him. Well, by this time the girls are screaming their heads off. And where do they go? They take off upstairs. So they fly up the steps. Where do they go up the steps? Well, they barge right into my sister's room. So my 8-year-old sister, who was up there, going to sleep, they go flying in there, they go right into my sister's room. So I follow them up the stairs. So I go up the stairs, I go into my sister's room. Now my sister is trying, like she's over in the corner cowering by her pillow. I mean, knowing all along this was me, but not, the two girls are both there. One of them is kind of all the way against the corner and against the door. The other one is like right kind of by the front of the bed and just kind of looking and like screaming their heads off. So I come in, I have the machete in my hand. Now this thing is dripping with fake blood. So there's fake blood all over the floor. And I come in and I look at one of them. Well, I walk over. And I'm walking really slow, like the serial killers in the movies do. And I walk really slow over to, I think the girl I walked over to, I think was Michelle. So I walk over to her and I look down and she looks in my face and she goes, "All right, Joe, that's enough. Cut it out." Well, she does that, right? Well, I then looked back at her, just stared at her, opened my eyes as wide as I possibly could open them. As wide as I could open them and just stared back. For that split second, she didn't know it was me anymore. She had that, like, just that terrifying thing where, oh my God, is this not him? For that split second, I saw her face just go white. And at that point, after that, I took off the mask and I started cracking up laughing. So that is my story of how I got to be, and everything from that was, from there on, I've been known as the alter ego of Jason Voorhees. From that point on, that story got all over school. It went all over everywhere. If people had phones and stuff back then, you would have probably had it on video. Mustafa said I was a real life friend. Fiend. Yeah. It was absolutely crazy. Those girls, I don't think, talked to us again after that for quite a long time. And again, didn't really see the meaning behind it because, again, like when my friend Matt liked one of them, and I'm like, this is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, so that's how I got to be kind of synonymous with the Jason character, and it started from that point. So yeah, so there you go. Walk down a ladder from my bedroom. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so there you go. There's my Jason story. All right, let's get back to. Let me see if there's anything else going on in the chat.
I got 2 questions for Jeff.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead, Jody.
All right. So my first question, since you've wrestled a lot, what was your absolute favorite match that you wrestled in?
That is a really good question. Favorite match I ever wrestled in was the last match that I wrestled against my former trainer. We did basically it was a hardcore match, and it was my favorite match because I made an agreement that would be the last time I would ever do anything with thumbtacks. So we I had done quite a few matches with thumbtacks, and they suck all the time.
I can imagine.
But you know, I had said the time before that I was like, I'm never doing a match with thumbtacks again. And he said, well, listen, we're gonna put you over. We're gonna put the belt back on you. And the only way that I will do that is if you do a thumbtack spot. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. I mean, whatever. And now this is a guy that I've had several of these matches with, where there were times when I ended up with thumbtacks in my head, in my neck, in my face, all over my body. And so he was like, we'll do something. It'll be mild. And I knew he was lying. And so, we get there and do everything, work out the spots and all that. And I'm like, okay, so how are we going to take it home? And he's like, well, I'm going to dump out the bag of thumbtacks, and you're going to slam me on them, and you're going to hit your finish, and we're going to go home. I was like, okay, cool.
You're like, all right.
Well, he didn't tell me where I was slamming him from, which was a 12-foot ladder. And what people don't tell you about these spots is the guy that's doing the slamming usually takes the worst of the thumbtacks. So yeah, I slammed him off of the ladder, and the way that he poured said thumbtacks were conveniently all where I would land when I slammed him off the ladder. So it ended up being 78 thumbtacks.
Oh my god!
Either 78 or 79 thumbtacks, and and he ended up having, like, I want to say maybe 20, 21, and he said, "See, this is your last one, so we had to make it special." And yeah, I gave him a salute that let him know what I thought about him in that moment. So.
Oh, now I know why Jeff cringes every time there's thumbtacks in a ring.
Yeah, so 78 78 of them they pulled out of the top and back of my head, my neck, my back, and yeah, and the backs of my legs and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that was that one. But that was my favorite match because we wrestled for about 35 minutes. And the story that we told, yeah, at one point we were tag team champions, and it was kind of like this moment where I was turning heel, which I love, and so it gave me an opportunity to really go into that persona. And that was the second time that I turned heel, but that was the one I really enjoyed the most. So yeah, that was my favorite match.
That's
Awesome.
a really cool story.
That's awesome, dude. That's
and
awesome.
My second question is completely off topic, but how does it feel to be closer to those babies?
Oh my goodness. And I'm gonna try my best not to get emotional during this. But I spent the better part of a couple years really losing myself. My marriage fell apart, and so things were on the rocks already. And the circumstances around me leaving New York in the first place were really jacked up. But so being away from them any amount of time was really difficult. So honestly, I had gotten to a point where I was extremely depressed and just down on myself all the time. And honestly, I didn't think I'd ever see my kids again. And then, I got a little bit stronger as the days went on, and, through my faith, through, friends like all of you and people encouraging me, I just kept going forward. And honestly, when I found out, when I got offered the job that I have now, it was like a blessing and a dream come true all in one. And for some reason, it didn't feel real. And then I got up here, I moved in. It still didn't feel real. But the the first time that I saw my kids, it was I saw them on Monday, and just looking in their faces, and just seeing their emotion and seeing the joy in their faces was just it's a feeling that I will never forget for the rest of my life, because I know that everything that I've gone through over the last couple years got me to that moment. And when things first happened, I looked at it as like, how in the world did this happen to me, or why did this happen to me, or like, why are things the way that they are? And honestly, at this point in time, I realized that I had to go through hell so I could show my kids how to persevere. And I could show my kids that no matter how tough a situation is, no matter what people say about you, no matter how people try to demonize you, you keep fighting, you keep going forward, and the truth will always come out. You don't have to say a word. Your actions and the way you live your life will speak for you. So, yeah.
Awesome story, man. And yeah, I mean, everybody's so happy for Jeff that he was able to get back to where he wanted to be. Sometimes in life you do get lost. It happens. It happens to everybody. At one point or another, you sometimes lose your way, and something happens that brings you out of that, and it's just an amazing feeling to get back there. And congrats to you, Jeff, for gone through so much of what you went through, and now to be able to come full circle and get back to seeing your kids again is amazing. That's awesome, dude. Absolutely awesome. What is going on? Oh, we've got Eustace doing jokes. Of course, Eustace is doing jokes. Let's see what else. Jesse, I saw you made a donation before. You didn't have to do that, but thank you. We really appreciate that. You did not have to do that though. Just happy to have you along as part of our joke off that we have every Wednesday night. I have that's a lot. Christopher says I live in New York. There you go. Another New Yorker. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. What else is going on? Mustafa says, big respect, Jeff. As someone struggling like crazy these days, I really needed to hear this. There you go. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I mean, the things like this that we do are obviously just little things in the grand scheme. This is just kind of like an entertainment thing, and you just try to take your mind off of things for a while, get away from it all. Obviously, wrestling's done that for a lot of us, including myself. It's a way to just get away from things for a little while and kind of sink yourself into that 1 or 2 hours, however long it is, and watch another storyline unfold, which comes off in the way of professional wrestling. So, but yeah. It's amazing to see things going your way, Jeff, and nothing but love and respect for me as well. Steve is saying I won't insult any of the young members of the Insiders, so this question is for me. Oh God. Of course, and young members of in my 300-year life experience, good Lord, what is the biggest lesson you would tell someone 3% of your age, like Sonny Wolf? Oh God. Oh man, wow. I mean, I guess I'll take lessons from. Look, I've been around people for a long, long time. My career has taken me around many, many, many people. Whether that be where I was a manager of those people, or whether they were coworkers of mine, managers who managed me. Being in retail for as long as I have been, I have seen so many people, customers and stuff too, coming in and out and things like that. It's been, like I said, I mean, people look, it's really changed. There's a lot of things about it nowadays I don't like, but look, I can't complain when I look back at it, because I've met so many amazing folks, people that worked for me that I saw as kids. They were 19 years old, around Sonny's age, and they came in working for me. They started for me. I hired them. I brought them in. They worked for me for about 5-6 years. They went on to become, major people in IT departments. They became bosses themselves. They became managers themselves. They, gone on to many, many other things. I have a guy who worked for me for years, he owns a recording studio. So just an amazing amount of people. And I still talk to them all today. The only thing I can say is, and this is my biggest thing really. And this is, people ask me, well, what is your biggest, and I get asked this a lot when I go for job interviews. They'll ask me, they'll be like, what is your biggest thing? If you could say, your biggest thing as a manager. And I will always say, I have been honest to a fault with everyone that worked for me every single time. Mm-hmm. Now, it got me into trouble many, many times, because I'm not supposed to tell people what the company doesn't want me to tell them. So, but it gained me a tremendous amount of respect, because I would let them know, exactly what was going on, why it's going on, why we're doing things. I wasn't going to lie to them and tell them that they needed to do something and not give them a reason why. And so what I would tell you, or anyone young that's listening, be honest. Just you may go into jobs and they might tell you that you shouldn't be, but listen, you'll survive. Maybe that's not the job you want to be in anyway. But just be honest with people. If you're ever a leader of people and you ever find yourself in that position, they're going to respect you just for being honest with them. And that is one thing I will tell you. Just try your best to be honest. I am not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I've gotten myself in a lot of trouble with things not so much work related, but out of work related, where I wasn't necessarily honest all the time. And so, look, I've seen the perils of doing that. But that's what I would tell you. Be honest. Both with yourself and with others that you're around. Don't try to, because one thing you'll see is that if you lie about something, make something up, it just balloons. And no matter how good or how smart you think you are, you're not going to be able to hide it. It's going to eventually come out, and then it's going to turn into a whole big thing. So just right up front, just be honest with people. And I think they'll respect you and yeah. So there you go. That is the advice that I would give to anyone that is younger. Also, the other thing I'll say quick, and this I will say, and I will thank I will thank Jody and Jeff while they're here. I think Brandy may have dropped off, but big props to them because I went to college for journalism. I did it for a little while. I wrote for what they call the newspaper back in the day. And I used to go and cover local sports. I used to go to like softball games and, like the things that they have like in the local communities and stuff like that. I'd write articles about that kind of thing. I was doing it freelance for a while. But it just didn't make any money and there was really no future in it. And believe it or not, my very first day in college, the class for my major, I walk into the classroom and the teacher tells me, basically it comes right out. And you want to talk about honesty? This guy comes right out and says, well, I want to just let all you guys know that if you're planning on being a journalist and you want to write for a newspaper, you better make sure of two things. One, that you're not going to make a dime in the business. And two, you're going to need to get a job with the Associated Press or else you're not going to make anything at all. And you're not going to have a job for very long. So right off the bat, like you want to talk about a buzzkill, you're going into a classroom thinking, oh, this is my first major class. This is going to be cool. I'm going to start learning about what because the first 2 years of college is all that other stuff. You just kind of have to get out of the way. And then you start taking your classes that you're really interested in the first place. And that is the first thing I got said to me in class. Yeah. So what I'm leading up to is, I left that behind because there really wasn't a future in it. I didn't see any future. I DJ'd a little bit in college too, and that would have been something I would have loved to do. But again, was just a thing where in that day and age, you had radio stations, but the DJs that had been there for years and years and years and years, and they were just established there, and there was just no getting into anywhere there. I didn't live in a big city, so I wasn't in an area where I could find things like that. So I kind of had to leave it behind, and that's what got me into retail. But I will thank everyone, you guys as well, for giving me an opportunity to do what my dream was. And that's this kind of thing. I wanted to do this since I was in college when I was 17 years old. And the fact that I can now do this, and it's pretty similar to what I wanted to do back in the day. And I have to shout out to my oldest daughter as well, because without her, I never would have tried. She was the one who had said to me, Dad, you really should get into this podcasting thing. It's like super easy now and you would love it. And I'm like, well, I don't think it's easy. She's like, no. There's like an app that you could do and you can go on there and you could record everything. And then they send things out for you. You literally have to do nothing. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. That's kind of how my 80s podcast was born. And so I have to shout her out because without her saying that, I never would have tried. And that's how I met Jeff. Jeff had his own podcast as well. He and I met. That is on our channel, by the way, in case you ever want to hear that story. Both of us, we talked to each other on Jeff's podcast first. And that's kind of where everything led to. So, and again, I will, say thanks to Jeff. Obviously, thanks to Jody and Brandy for, allowing me to have the opportunity that I've wanted my entire life. And to be able to do something like this. And that's another thing I will tell you guys. If you're younger, never give up on a dream. Never, ever, ever give up on a dream. And I know a lot of you probably think to yourself, yeah, everybody says that. That's ridiculous. It's stupid. Look, I was like you. I kind of thought, well, my dream's done. I mean, it's done. There's no way I'm ever going to get it. And you know what? 30 some years later, here I am. So who would have thought? And yeah, so don't ever give up on a dream. There are so many things everybody can do. This is such a big world, and there's so many things out there that you can do that you're gonna enjoy doing. But don't ever give up on a dream. So yeah, so there you go. That is my advice to the young.
I'm gonna piggyback on yours, Joe.
Sure.
I'm going to say, because I had to learn this, after my first marriage failed due to some postpartum depression that went undiagnosed for way too long. And just, going through that whole relationship thing again. And I'm sure, Joe, you can attest to this. And anybody else that's ever been in a relationship knows you have to learn how to be content and happy with yourself, by yourself. And not put that pressure on the person that you're with, because they will never, if you put all that pressure on them to make you happy, they will never succeed and you'll never be happy. So I had to learn after my first marriage that I had to be happy by myself and with myself before I could let somebody else in. And it's made the biggest difference. So that would be my piece of advice to people. Just learn how to be happy and content by yourself.
Great shout. By the way, guys, you are our extended family, all of you. If you ever have questions for any of us about anything at all, shoot us a DM. We're available on Twitter. We've all had different experiences in our lives, and maybe if you're going through something and you just kind of need to shoot something off somebody, feel free to do it. I would much rather have you guys talk to us than some random person on Twitter, because they are not going to probably have your best interest in mind. So yeah, I mean, we're always here for everybody. Sean said, "I'm a Time Lord, dude. I wish if I was a Time Lord, I wouldn't have probably fallen down my steps this morning." Or halfway down, as it may be. Joe, it's me and Jeff at Mania 38 in Hell in a Cell, but will you be our ring announcer? Sure. Absolutely. Jesse wants to know what we would do for a Klondike bar. I've never been a fan. I've never been a fan of those. That commercial is iconic. What would you do for a Klondike bar? But I've never been a fan of those. I've never eaten them very much. They're like a big ice cream. You know what they are like? They're like the popsicles you used to get years ago, and they still make them. They make the vanilla with the chocolate like stuff, the shell over top of them. That's exactly what they are, except it's a little bit thicker. And I was never into those. The chocolate to me on those always tasted waxy. Like whenever you'd eat them, it didn't taste like real chocolate. It was just like waxy. And I kind of think when I had a Klondike bar once, it tasted like that too. So I was never into Klondike bars.
I'm glad that they started bringing over the Magnum ice cream bars.
Europe,
because you didn't get those for a long time, and you only had them. I could only get them in England when I went to England, and I was so glad when I saw them come over here.
Yeah. See, they're getting better. They're making better stuff along the lines of that kind of stuff now. Jeff, are you a Klondike fan?
I used to be.
Okay. All right.
Before all this trying to eat healthy nonsense that I'm doing right now.
Are you Are you still doing your intermittent fasting?
I am.
Good.
I am down 40.5 pounds.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I honestly, there was a time in my life that if anyone had asked me what would I do for a Klondike bar, I'd punch someone in the face. But times change and people change. So
there you go.
So I wouldn't be as violent. I would just ask very nicely. But there was a time where I'd punch someone in the face for a Klondike bar. I really would. Like I'd have to hold back from physical violence, honestly.
Well, there you go, Jesse. You got your answer. Jesse says maybe I should go back to pursuing. Jesse, do it. Why not? Why not? You're never too old. I mean, God, look at me. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, why not? Absolutely, why not? I mean, it's you hear this from a lot of people, like musicians. I know some musicians. I know some guys that are in that business. I know, people now. Of course, I know some people that are in the wrestling business and things like that. Knowing Jeff and look, I mean, why not? You are seeing now today more and more ways of getting your name out there. Make social media work for you. Social media can be trash, absolute trash. But if you make it work for you, then hey, why not? Absolutely, why not? Mustafa says, I sure as hell haven't given up, even though things look tough right now. Thanks a lot, guys. No, dude, listen, everything you're. I think Jeff made a good comment in there too. Make sure you read that. That was the insider's comment that was in there. Things are always going to be tough, man. Things are always going to be tough. You know what I love? And you guys can see, I don't know if you guys had watched this movie. There is an inspirational quote that was used when I would go to meetings and stuff. This was when I worked with T-Mobile, so probably about 13 years or so ago. The movie Rocky Balboa. Now, not the Rocky movies, but this one is like a sequel. It's probably like the sixth film. So you had Rocky V and then Rocky Balboa came out after that. There was a quote that Sylvester Stallone is talking to his son, that he says that, man, if this quote does not pump you up, you will never get pumped up by a quote. Like, he literally goes into this speech of talking about, there'll be nothing that will ever hit you hard as life. It'll beat you down, but I mean, go watch it on YouTube. Look up Rocky Balboa quote, because it'll pop up with that. But it is an amazing quote and an amazing part of a movie. It was really one of the best movies in the Rocky series to me, and I loved that series. I watched every one of them, but it was probably one of the better ones that they've made, one of the better sequels. Kind of getting him back to his roots in Philadelphia and stuff like that from the first two movies. But this quote that he gives to his son, amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you haven't heard it, go look it up. It is one of the most inspiring things you will ever hear. And it's awesome. That Sean got it. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. Yes. Go on YouTube, watch it, listen to it. It is amazing. If you don't get inspired from that, I mean, I'm literally sitting in a T-Mobile meeting, which has absolutely nothing to do with Rocky in this speech. But when we're done, we're like, yeah, and we're all like sitting up. And I'm sure that's what the DM wanted us to do in the first place. But dude, it was like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, go check that out. It's an amazing speech. Absolutely amazing speech. Joe uses Rusty's car like the fountain. Yeah, dude, I wish I had Rusty's car. I could travel light speed. I would be the man on Mars right now if I had Rusty. I would be on the surface of Mars if I had Rusty's car right now. I always busted him when we would talk to him. I'd be like, Captain, I can't give it anymore, Captain. I can't push it any further. Yeah.
I think Rusty's car is secretly a DeLorean.
Rusty's got something going on. But there it is. Oh, look at Jeff found it. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody's going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So good. So good. I'm telling you, dude, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. One of the best quotes I've ever heard in a movie. So good. But yeah, live your dreams, man. Really. I mean, because you just never, like Jeff told you where he was and how now his life turned around for him and things are, you're always going to have peaks and valleys. Always. Like Rocky said, it's going to beat you down. You're always going to have those peaks and valleys. But when you look, you're going to live through the valleys. When you come back up to the peaks, it's going to be so much better because you fought your way up. And everything that happens at that point is going to be so much better and so rewarding. And that's why, like something like this, which people look at as a simple podcast, is so rewarding for me because I absolutely love the heck out of it and I love doing it. And it's because, again, it's something I always wanted to do. And I just, I sit here, and there's a lot of times I act like a goof. I'll sit here and I'll smile from ear to ear when I'm doing this. And then I'm making imitations, and I'm doing impersonations and all that kind of stuff. I just love it. I absolutely just love it. Why does Dr. Pepper? I'm not reading. Almost, you got me. Almost. You almost got me. I'm not reading it. I'm not doing it. I will leave you guys with a Superman joke. I'm going to tell you the Superman joke. This is a very old joke. Very, very old. You probably heard it. You may have heard a variation of it. I'm going to tell you a Superman joke quick. All right. So one day, Superman's flying around, and he decides he wants to go, he's tired of all the stuff. He just got done with a big fight with Lex Luthor, and so he's kind of tired. He kind of just wants to relax. So he's like, I can use a beer. I'm gonna find Batman, and I'm gonna see if he wants to. So he flies around. He goes and flies over to the Batcave. Goes in. Goes down. Says to Batman, he's like, hey, I really would like to go out and get a beer. I'm really tired and stuff like that. I just got done with that big fight with Lex, and I really need to go get a beer. You want to go get a beer? Batman's like, no, man, the Joker just escaped. I've got too much going on. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. So he's like, all right. So he leaves. He flies out of the Batcave, and he's like, that damn Batman. He's always so serious. Can't do anything. It's like, you know what? Let me go. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna go talk to Aquaman. So he flies out to the sea. And he goes into the water, goes down, there's talking to Aquaman. He's like, Aquaman, he's like, I really just, I need to go out. I need to get drunk. I need to just do, I need to have something. I need to have a beer or 20 or something until I get drunk, but I have to go out. I'm stressed out. Aquaman's like, dude, I'd love to go, but I've got this thing going on here. I've got, my wife is she's fighting some people down here. We got pollution in the water. I can't make it. So Superman's like, all right, whatever. So Superman goes back up into the air, and he's like, you know what? This is pointless. No one's going to do this. So he sees a bar, and he flies in at super speed into the bar, goes in, gets about 50 beers, downs all 50 beers, super speed. He's done like that. So now goes back up into the air, leaves the bar. Now he's flying. He's got a good, now he's good and buzzing, right? He's got a good buzz going, because even 50 beers for Superman, right? Yeah, he's got a good buzz going now. So he's flying, and he happens to look down. And when he looks down, he sees Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman is she's sunbathing on her roof next to her invisible jet, and she's naked sunbathing. So Superman's like, all right, now I've got super speed. So, and he's plotting this, of course, and he's buzzing good. So he's kind of drunk. He's not thinking right. So he's looking down. He's like, man, I can get down there. I can be, bang, 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 be done, gone, and away before she even knew what happened. Right. So he's thinking, he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So he kind of lowers down the trunks a little bit, right? Flies down, boom, bang, and he's gone. He's back up into the air in seconds flat. He's big smile on his face. He's all good to go. So Wonder Woman looks up, and she says, what the hell was that? And the invisible man who was on top of Wonder Woman goes, I don't know, but man, my asshole sure hurts. Oh! An oldie but a goodie. There you go. The Superman joke or variations of it. And I'm sure everybody has heard one variation or another of that one. And it's been several over the years. I see everybody telling jokes in the chat. So there you go. There you go. All right, guys, let me see if there's anything else, and then we are gonna probably get out of here. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him, her, or anybody. That's part of it too. Yep, that's still part of that. Yep, how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Yes. Great speech. Great speech. I am Tiaz. Sorry I'm late. No worries, dude. It was just a very chill thing tonight. We're just celebrating with you guys here. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always going to love you no matter what. No matter what happens, you're my son and you're my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't going to have a life. Yeah, Butterspark's putting the whole thing in there. Yes, it's a great thing. TurboCast says, congratulations. Thank you, dude. TurboCast, we have known TurboCast since the NWA, being in the streams for NWA, and hopefully someday we get back to doing that. I cannot wait until NWA Power comes back. Loved it and can't wait to see them get going again when the fans come back, obviously, because that is what they live on, is the fans in that studio, and I cannot wait to see that happen again. Thank you so much for the kind donation, TurboCast. Really, really, really appreciate that, and it's great to see you. We, we've known you for a long time, and really just can't wait to see the NWA come back strong again. So good, and I can't wait to see what they've got in store for us down the road. How does the Joker start a rap battle? Want to know how I got these bars? Oh, nice. You want to know how I got these bars? Oh, love the Joker. I don't always comment on live chats, but I always watch. That's cool, dude. Man, we're always glad to hear you, or have you here. Sorry. I'm still in pain. Let's see. Hello, guys, and congrats. Thank you, Jennifer Carter, and thank you for joining us from Facebook, as you always do. Really appreciate that. Very nice to see you, and thank you always for coming into our streams and watching. Really, really, really appreciate that. Let's see, what else do we got here? John Cena, the Invisible Man. Yeah, Jesse, sure, why not? Throw John Cena on top of Wonder Woman. Absolutely. You can't see John Cena. Yes. Not even Superman can see him. Yes. Awesome. What else? All right. Yeah. All right. So let's go over. And now we're taking a weekend off. That's another reason why we kind of wanted to do this tonight, because we obviously had Hot Tag earlier and we're doing this stream. We're going to take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. We've got some things to get done. I know Jeff's got some things he needs to do. It'll give us all some time to reflect, go over some things. And as we told you guys last night, when we'll tell you this now, we are going to start doing video. So we're going to maybe try to start doing some practice sessions with the video and try to get that all straightened out, making sure it works well. The last thing I want to do is do video where the video plays and you're not hearing any sound and then it doesn't line up. That's the last thing I want to do. So yeah, but we should be doing video soon. So that is coming up. We're going to structure our regular podcast a little bit, so that is coming up as well. We're going to get back to some more of a formatted podcast. Obviously, Abby's. As for now, I know a lot of you asked. We're going to keep it where it is. For now, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I know, he's on Raw now, so it's but I mean, we could preview Raw and we could also go over what was done before. And then, if Bray's coming off of a pay-per-view, we could talk about usually that's when the big things happen, is the pay-per-view. So that will happen Sunday. So then we'll be able to talk about that on Monday. So we'll see. We'll see. For now, we're going to keep it where it is. And we always have Impact. And next week is packed. We have Impact Wrestling on Tuesday, which is a go-home show. We have our podcast on Wednesday. And then Saturday, we have Bound for Glory. I am so excited for Bound for Glory. Slammiversary was amazing, and I have no reason to believe that Bound for Glory will be anything less. It's their biggest pay-per-view, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. So make sure you're joining us for Impact and for Bound for Glory. If you have not watched Impact, you don't know what you're missing. It's been tremendous. And then next Sunday, we have Hell in a Cell. So Hell in a Cell is already next Saturday. So our stuff, this week we have SmackDown tomorrow, which should be good. Next week we have Raw and then SmackDown again. So we have the go-home shows next week for Hell in a Cell, and we'll see what is going on with Bray and with Hell in a Cell. If there's anything going on with him, we'll talk about that on Abby's on Monday. So yes, that is it, guys. Thank you again so much from all of us. Again, I say this all the time, but it's true. We wouldn't be here without you. Rusty says, congrats again. Next stop, 2K. Onward and upward. Yes. Onward and upward. Yes. Yes. And yes. Thank you to all of those who donated tonight for the kind donations. Really, really, really appreciate that. And we hope to see you all for Abby's on Monday. And then, of course, Impact on Tuesday, the podcast on Wednesday, and then, of course, the pay-per-views next weekend. Guys, thank you so much. From Jeff and from Jody and myself, have a great rest of your night. Stay safe. Sean says, congrats. Thanks, dude. Really, really appreciate that. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will talk to you again very soon. Take care, everybody. See you later.